Right behind me slash beside me is the all new truck for the channel. It is not a new truck. I bought it sight unseen online from a dealership in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is pretty far away from Pennsylvania. Now unfortunately there's some damage and some things wrong with it that I wasn't aware of and the dealership didn't tell me about. But I'm not going to let that bring me down. Time to introduce to you guys the new truck on the channel. The ZR2 is gone, boys. We had a good run. And by a good run, I mean a giant waste of my time and money. Let me rewind just a little bit. The ZR2 wasn't doing well on YouTube, and that was the whole reason I bought it. Loved the truck. It had its downfalls. She gone. Now, before it was sold, there were some parts I wanted to get off of it. However, I didn't have the time or the resources to get them all off. So I did quickly pull the rear sub, an amp set up with all the wiring, so that's available if anyone wants it. I have it listed for sale. It's $750 new. I'll sell it for $450-ish. Don't really want to ship it though. Luckily, getting the sub out of there is not that difficult. So I was able to just unbolt everything. Nothing permanent was done to the truck, nothing permanent done to the sub. You just need 2 new T-taps. That's it. So I got the sub out, got all the wiring out, put everything back together, and then I wanted to make sure that both front fender wells match. So if you remember, to have a little more clearance for my tires, I did 2 different methods of trimming. One on the passenger side front, one on the driver's side front. One side I removed a bracket, the other side I didn't, so basically I went under the match. So on the driver's side I took some things apart, removed that metal bracket that's in there, did a little bit of trimming on the plastic molding by the fender flare, and put it all back together. That way everything matches. I don't want somebody to get a truck with different front fender wells. It would just look odd. Now I wanted to take the exhaust off, put the OEM exhaust back on, but if you know anything about the AW exhaust, you have to cut the factory exhaust behind the cats to install their setup. So obviously I wasn't going to put the OEM exhaust back on because I would have to weld it and everything, and I threw it away anyway. Could I have taken off the shock skids? Yeah, but I didn't really feel like dealing with that. Could I have swapped out the upper control arms for the stock ones? Yeah, but I didn't really feel like dealing with that. So really, the sub and amp is the only thing I took off. So everything else is still on the truck. So if you're the lucky buyer, it's got some good parts on it. Now to introduce the new truck to you guys. Any guesses? Diesel's back.
No Duramax.
I'm excited. So this is my 2015 High Country 2500 Duramax, and it is 100% a grandpa truck. This is what I got rid of the ZR2 for. They're a lot different. So it is somewhat weight and mostly stock. There are a couple mods that probably from an older gentleman, like the mud flaps, the running boards, the vent visors, the tonneau cover. It's got 59,000 miles, 1 owner, clean title. It's got the power sunroof, the electric sliding rear window, cab lights. It's got the good tow mirrors, the power folding ones, the Bose system. It's got every option. Heated, cooled seats, everything. It's got a heated steering wheel that works, parking sensors that work. Let the modifications begin. Now, I did give the truck a very, very quick wash because it wasn't detailed very well at the dealership that had it. The dealership was in New Hampshire, basically 7-hour drive from here, but they actually drove the truck here and took my ZR2 back on a trade for free, which is pretty cool. I saved a whole day of driving, day and a half of driving, plus all the fuel costs.
Goodbye.
I'm sure you're wondering what they gave me for the ZR2. They gave me $71,500. So I paid $73,000 for it. I took a $1,500 loss for a truck I owned for 4 months. Not too shabby. That's not counting all the mods I did to it, obviously, but yeah. Could Could have been worse. Now this truck came in at $52,700. $20,000 less than a ZR2. Hopefully better views, and it's a diesel. That's a win for me. Overall, this thing's pretty clean. Does have some dings and dents that need taken care of. The inside, it looks like they didn't really clean it. They just took like a shiny product to literally everything. So that's all gonna be cleaned. Some grease and grime here and there, but overall it's a great starting point for my Duramax build. And this is gonna take on a lot of changes. Like I said, it's pretty dirty under here. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes guys in dealerships will try to clean up the engine bay really well and try to hide any kind of oil leaks or any problems like that. They didn't do that here. Being a 2015, this does have the LML engine with the 6-speed Allison. Would I have rather had an L5P? Not sure. L5Ps can handle more power, make more power. I think they sound a little different, but the cost to modify L5Ps is through the roof, especially compared to an LML. These are relatively cheap to get performance out of them. Now, after I give it its quick wash, I wanted to go over and basically inspect the truck and just see what kind of condition it was in. I got a lot of pictures from the dealer. It looked like it was in good condition, but you never know till you see it. Well, right here is a big old crease that I couldn't see in any of the pictures. So you'll see this crease is actually a couple feet long. And there's a good scratch with it as well. So I don't even know if the crease is going to be able to be fixed without paint and bodywork. I don't know. I guess that's what you get when you buy a truck sight unseen. Now, I am in contact with the dealer. I think they're going to help me out fixing it. Hopefully, all the other little dents and scratches on the truck are to be expected. It's a used vehicle. But this, might not have bought it if I would have seen that. Now, as for the modifications, I've got some new headlight parts to go in, and these vent visors have got to go. They're already sort of falling off, and I'm just not a fan of how they look. I'm going to yank those off, yank some other parts off, change out the headlights, go from there. Well, that was so much fun that thankfully I have the whole other side to do. Came out nice, can't really even tell they were there. Let's do it a second time. That was a lot of work. That took a lot of time, energy, and effort. The double-sided tape or adhesive on those chrome molding strips are super thick. A couple other little things I want to probably debadge in the future or change, but that's good enough now for today. All right, driving the new diesel. Feels good to be back in a diesel, that's for sure. Even though it's stock, still nice. I will say, it certainly doesn't ride as good as the ZR2. Say, this thing has pretty decent get up and go for being stock and for being a big, heavy diesel. Now, while it doesn't ride as good as the ZR2, it does still ride fine. And everything on it feels nice and tight. There's not a bunch of slop, or there's actually no slop in the steering. Everything feels right and tight, so we're good on that end. Now, to run you guys through some of the dilemmas I had on what truck to get, this was the one I had in mind the whole time, an LML High Country. But I wasn't completely set on this. I was debating getting an L5P this body style. I thought about getting an LBZ, but man, getting an LBZ in good condition is almost impossible. Most of them are clapped out and rusted. I had an LB7 that had the LBZ front end on it, so really, would it be that much different? This is a truck I've never had at all. I was also slightly considering a used Raptor. A lot of you guys commented, why don't I just get the 2023 Colorado ZR2? I would like to get that. It's definitely on my list. The problem is, I'm not gonna be able to get my hands on one for 9 months, if not longer. Wouldn't surprise me if it was longer. And those things are probably gonna be 55, considering the AT4X first edition is in the 60s. Like, that's insane. So after all the debating with different trucks and switching brands and doing an off-road build, doing a street build, I finally came back to a High Country LML. I've been searching for these for weeks. I was very specific with what I wanted. I wanted white, gray, maroon, or brown, not black. I absolutely hate black. I think it's just so boring. I wanted it to be relatively low mileage. I was hoping for under 70K. This one's at 59. It was at 58, but it hit 59 on the drive here. Needed to have a sunroof, needed to have cab lights, needed to have the good tow mirrors, and needed to have the power sliding rear window. Now, getting all those things is actually pretty difficult on these trucks, especially with the fact that I only wanted certain colors on the inside and outside of this, but I was happy I found this one, at least so far. Now, if a head gasket lets go or the injectors are shot, something, I'll take back that statement. Good. And to be honest, guys, this interior, the infotainment is absolutely terrible. That's probably one of the first things I'm going to replace. I got to get a new stereo or head unit. Everything about this is just absolute garbage. Along with the rear backup camera, that's absolute garbage too. It's so bad. You can tell it's super low quality pixels and it's pretty worn out, like it's kind of foggy looking. It is awful. So probably the next mod or two I do is something with this radio. So if you have suggestions on a nice radio replacement, let me know. Other than that, on the inside, it just needs a little cleanup from the wear and tear. I got to get all the greasy, shiny stuff off here that the dealership put on. Next on the agenda is some new LED low beam and high beam bulbs. You see that factory halogens leave much to be desired. Not only are they not bright, but they just look ugly and old and cheap. So I've got some bulbs to swap in for both. Gonna do that. The engine bay is nice and hot though, because I just took it for a drive. Hopefully it's not too hard to take out. I'm sure it's not as easy as my LB7 though. Someone's playing ice cream truck music, but there's no ice cream truck. Do you hear that? Creepy. That was easy enough to get out. Old one, not so nice. Much nicer. Let's make sure they work. Quite the difference. Don't know how much brighter, but they certainly look better. Passenger side is a bit more involved. I think I have to take the air box off, or at least part of it. Air filter looks pretty nice and clean, so that's good. That was more work, but hopefully it works. Let's go to turn the headlights on and just confirm. Oh yeah. Now we match. I'll just get these freaking covers on, which are always a pain. Sweet. It's nice when you get LEDs that still fit behind the factory boxes, so I don't have to modify them. That's awesome. Another job done. Now that's just the first round of light upgrades on the truck. It definitely needs more LEDs. I think it needs rear license plate bulbs, probably reverse bulbs, cargo light. Gotta add some cargo lights to the bed because there aren't any, and my ZR2 had them and it was handy, especially with the tonneau cover, you can't see anything. Want to upgrade the lights in the mirrors, upgrade the cab lights, and custom headlights are definitely going to happen. I just don't know if I want to build them or just buy a set pre-built already. Big thanks to Lost Fit. Those are the guys who provided the LED bulbs for the low beam and high beam. They work awesome. I've driven the truck at night and it looks so much better. Link for those will be in the description below. Great start to this series, guys. Let me know what direction you want me to take this build. This is more than likely going to be extremely different than the ZR2. This is probably not going to be any kind of off-road build at all. That'll be for the Colorado ZR2 when it comes out, pending the price on that truck. I'm leaning towards more of a street build for this truck, kind of a love-hate thing, so I'll probably get a lot of flack for it, but it's something new and it's something different, and I want to try it. The front end, I'd like to get rid of the torsion bars and do a full coilover conversion, so that's on the option list as well. I don't know if I should do suspension, wheels, and tires first, or do performance mods first, so you guys let me know what you think in the comments, because I haven't ordered anything yet for this truck. I was waiting to post this video and get your feedback.